Hey there, entrepreneurs. My name is Sushant, and welcome to TrepTalks. This is the show where I interview successful e-commerce entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders, and ask them questions about their business story, and also dive deep into some of the strategies and tactics that they have used to start and grow their businesses. And today, I'm really excited to welcome Mike Gilman to the show. Mike is the founder of Grooming Lounge. Grooming Lounge is a grooming products brand and online retailer specializing in men's grooming products. And today I'm going to ask Mike a few questions about his entrepreneur journey and some of the strategies and tactics that he has used to start and grow his business. Now, before we dive into this interview, if you enjoy this kind of content, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And for more content like this, please visit our website, treptalks.com. And with that, Mike, thank you so much again for your time today, and really appreciate you joining me today at Trip Talks. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Shushan.
So, very interesting business. And I was just on your website and I saw that you started in 1999, which is almost now 25 years.
Yep.
So it's been a long time. So what is your story? What kind of motivated you to get started in the grooming business? And how did you kind of start this grooming products brand?
Yeah, so I'll try to make it what is a very long story. I'll try to make it a lot shorter just because I know we don't have all day. But the nutshell is that I grew up in a family that was in the professional beauty business. So not the men's grooming business, but in the professional beauty business. My grandfather, almost 90 years ago, started a business that was a distributor for salon professional beauty supplies, sold to salons only. Um, and while I never worked there myself, my father took over the business and turned it into a really nice size business, which they eventually sold. And while I never worked there directly, when I got out of college, well, my whole life I used to go to the different various trade shows they'd have. But when I got out of college and I lived in different parts of the country, I would come back and go to the trade shows, and then I'd connect with old high school friends or friends from home. And when I would go to these trade shows, I would always get samples from all these different hair care brands and skincare brands and stuff like that. And when I would go see old high school friends, who I categorize as beer drinking, football watching slobs, I would always bring this bag of goodies and just say, "Hey, if any of you guys want any of this stuff, take it." And I remember that in like 1998, I did this, and a couple of my friends who I would not categorize as very well groomed called me up a couple of days later and said, "Gilman, you got to get me some of those, some more of that skin cream, or that those bath salts you gave me are amazing." And it just put a light bulb off for me, thinking to myself, if these guys are into taking care of themselves, guys who I didn't traditionally think of as people who focused a lot on how they looked or smelled. If that was important to them, then I can't even imagine what the market would be for men for whom appearance is a huge, huge factor in their success. So, started looking into it immediately, and this was right about, the idea was launched in 99, but right around 2000, 2001 is when there was really a turn, and that term metrosexual came about, which I don't think is a great term, but also there was a show, rendition of Queer Eye for the Straight Guy and all this kind of stuff where it was booming. Guys were getting into their own personal grooming and taking care of themselves, and it was less and less taboo. And I just got the idea and thought to myself, well, wow, if we could create not only a website where guys could go to get the products that they're too embarrassed to get from a department store or salon, usually just being totally transparent because there was a pretty girl behind the desk and they wouldn't want to go up to the woman behind the desk and say, "Hey, you have anything that can help my bald spot here? This acne that I have?" Guys don't want to do that. Or if they could even go online to get the stuff that they wouldn't want to buy or just make it easier to buy, it would be a huge success. And then we thought, to the next step, what if there was a place where guys could go to get the services that they're already getting, but in an elevated manner? So they were getting haircuts, but what if there was a place that was high end and specialized just in men's haircuts, but you could also get spa services or other services that guys wouldn't want to get in a kind of in a more female environment, and we just took it from there and launched the website and opened our first store, and it's just grown and grown from there.
And so this was all started in 99?
Yeah, so we came
Or did
up.
you start the online business in a little bit later?
Yeah, no, the online business launched in 2001,
Okay.
and we opened our first store in Washington, D.C. in 2002. And
Wow.
the online store wasn't much to begin with. I think it was a Yahoo back store, and I think we launched it for about $3,000, had about 4 or 5 brands. And we were doing all the pick, pack, and shipping out of my basement, and my wife was literally our our warehouse manager in the basement while I got the store up and running. So yeah, we've
I
come
mean,
a
so
long way.
you really caught the first, I guess, the first wave of e-commerce. I mean, that was really the early days of e-commerce, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah, it was early. I remember very vividly going out because we had no idea how to build a website or where we could build it, and going out to these companies that were building websites. I don't know what they were even building them on at the time. And the quotes and the bids that came back were outrageous because this was like right during the dot-com boom. So, people were saying, oh, be $500,000 or $750,000 to create this e-commerce website. That obviously was not going to fly for us. So um, found somebody who knew about Yahoo, which did e-com stores. I don't even know if they still do it. Um,
probably
and
not.
we created a Yahoo e-com store for 2 or 3 grand, put it up there, and luckily, like you said, we were kind of the first to market specifically in men's grooming, and so the ability to get publicity and notoriety and stuff really just exploded just because we did some quirky stuff, but we were also the only game in town. So it was a good way to start, and it helped us to kind of to get a little torque going at the beginning of our business.
That's awesome. So right now, are you completely online, or have you? I mean, I see that you have your own brand, but you also sell other brands as well. Do you have your own brand distributed now in like uh, big brand, like big retailers and so forth, or you're completely online right
Well,
now?
we kind of have 3 components to our business now. So we have our ecom store, which we sell about 25 high-end men's grooming brands. We've had as many as 40. Now we have 25. We've really narrowed it down. But we also online sell our in-house brand, which is grooming lounge products. And we have about 25 grooming lounge SKUs. And the rationale for coming up with grooming lounge products really came very organically. When we opened the store and we had the website, we started selling a bunch of products. And what we soon realized was that most guys who came into our barber shop or online, they didn't know anything about the brands they were buying. They just, they saw a name, they liked it, and they bought it. And we thought, well, if they're coming to us to get advice and information and to buy products, um, and especially when they're coming into our store to meet our barbers or skincare pros, why wouldn't we offer them products that we made, that we formulated ourselves in conjunction with our barbers or skincare pros? Because there's just that trust factor there. And also, just from a pure business perspective, there's a lot more margin in it for us than buying from another wholesale company. So, starting in about 2005, we made about 3 or 4 products a year, and we've continued that, all the way up until now. So we have the .com where we sell the third-party brands. We also have grooming lounge products on there. And then we have physical barbershop and spa in Northern Virginia. Prior to the pandemic, we had several of them. Pandemic was a whole different story in terms of brick and mortar locations. But now we have the one in Virginia, which is our flagship, and was pretty much the first upscale barbershop and spa for men exclusively in the country. And it's a great business, and it's a great testing and development and educational hub kind of for grooming lounge as a whole.
Awesome. So you said, I believe you said you have three different, I guess, channels. So you mentioned your
Yeah.
online. Was there another two different as well?
Yeah, so we have our online business, then we have our grooming lounge wholesale business, which is our product business, and we
Okay.
obviously sell our own products on our website, but we also have some distribution outside of grooming lounge to probably about 30 to 40 small to mid-sized retailers across the country that we sell grooming lounge products and grooming lounge fragrances. And then we have our store,
Awesome.
our barbershop and
Now,
spa.
a little bit about because a lot of businesses or a lot of entrepreneurs who want to create businesses, of course, one way is to sell other brands' products, and another way is, what you just said, create your
Yep,
own brand, and that gives you better margins and better
yep,
control over your own brand and products.
yep.
Can you talk a little bit about that process of product development? How do you select which products to go to market with, and who is
Yep.
manufacturing your products, and how are you bringing them?
Sure, sure. Well, when we first started, at least online, it was pretty easy to figure out what products we were going to carry because there were like 3 or 4 men's exclusive grooming products out there. So that was pretty easy. Now, with men's grooming has just exploded, and now there's literally thousands. Um, and what quality is very important to us. And we're lucky that we kind of have an in-house lab. So everyone who works in our barbershop and our spa, before we bring on a new brand, we let them test it. And if they kind of give us the thumbs up that the stuff works, smells right, doesn't have any adverse effects on people or anything like that, then we usually bring it on. But, being transparent as well, you need some brands with name recognition too, especially because the internet and e-commerce is so competitive. So, you know, I think the days of building a brand or somebody else's brand online are gone. It's just too expensive. So,
Mm,
um, you know, but the ad spend and the work you have to do to sell somebody else's brand, the juice is usually not worth the squeeze, at least in our opinion. So we have some well-known brands that have some great quality that we carry. And for our products, um, it's been a learning process over the last 20 years about how our products are made and distributed. But we really just went and found some third-party kind of manufacturers, and they're all over the place. The quality levels of them varies, but we found some great partners, and we just went through a process of perfection with them where we went to them and we said, hey, we're looking for a shave cream that smells like this, that feels like this. Here's another product that's somewhat similar, but we don't like this or that. And then they send you samples, and then we give it to our barbers or spa professionals, and they give us their feedback and they try it on guests.
mm.
And it's a ongoing thing where you just do it until you get it right. And so with all the products that we've created, that's really been the process for our grooming lounge products. And that's what we're doing with products moving forward as well.
I think that's a great advantage that you have a channel and a team to actually test out the product before you put it out in the market and
Yeah, no,
get feedback. Yeah,
yeah, it's really nice for us. Not only that it works, not only that it helps us create great products, because these people know what they're doing, but there's also an aura of authority or legitimacy because the people who are testing and helping us create our products are people who do this as a job every day. It's not just me or a friend of mine or a family member saying, "Oh, that smells really good, and I think it's good." These people are cut hair and shave and provide skincare every day, and if they like the stuff, and then it's good enough for us, and then it's good enough for our guests.
for sure. Um, what have you learned about your market? Of course, you're selling to men, and
Yep.
as you said, I think over the last couple of decades, it has become more mainstream for men to go out and buy grooming products and so forth. So what have you learned about your target market? Given that there are now a lot of different men's grooming brands as well in the market, who is buying specifically from you? Like, is there a target market that you kind of appeal to the most?
I think men's grooming market has really expanded now. I think when we started, maybe or even a decade ago, um, there was definitely a bit of a younger demographic, 35 and under, maybe that 18 to 35. But over the last couple of years, at least our niche that works for us is kind of that 35 plus. I mean, we have, it could be even 35 to 65. And, it's established guys who have disposable income who are willing to pay for a luxury product or a luxury service. And that's what we have to value. As a small business, we can't compete on price really. So, there's tons of smaller, not smaller, but, you know, more mass men's grooming brands out there that might be selling a shave cream or shampoo for 12 or $13. Um, and I'm sure they're good products, but we just can't, that's not a business that we can compete in.
Hmm.
So that kind of little older, more mature market, willing to pay for quality, that fits right in our wheelhouse.
No, I definitely that makes sense. And I think maybe it's better to sell to a more affluent market. As you said, you consider your brand to be more of a luxury brand.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a better margin in that segment as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we try to be like affordable luxury. There's certainly people that are much more expensive than us. So we try to sit a little bit below that because we know that not everybody is flush with cash, but maybe a little more. And we're hoping that the quality of the product or the service and the support, makes it more than worthwhile.
I want to discuss your marketing a little bit. I know you mentioned that it's becoming more and more expensive to kind of, especially specifically target, I think, the direct to consumer segment, right? You have to go out
Yeah.
either advertising or, be really creative in your organic marketing. Um, what can you talk a little bit about your marketing strategy? What is working for you in terms of paid, organic, otherwise, and has it become challenging in the last 25 years? How has it evolved for
Oh,
you?
it's evolved, I don't think it's evolved, being transparent. It hasn't evolved for the better for, the little guy, which we still are. Certainly when we started, it was kind of the Wild West online. It was wide open, and we planted a flag as being kind of the first to market in men's grooming. And, for the first 8 to 10 years of our business, it was kind of shooting fish in a barrel because we were kind of one of the only games in town. And so from like a organic search perspective, if you typed in any shaving or men's grooming question, you were getting pointed to us. It was easy.
Hmm.
Um, and by the same token, we were also able, my background prior to this, I worked in marketing and public relations, and we were able to obtain a ton of unpaid media or free media or PR, um, whether it be from the products that we carried, or some goofy promotions that we would run and stuff like that. And so it was great. But that's changed a lot now, with the growth and growth of the industry. And now there's, where there was 5 men's grooming sites or brands, now there's literally thousands. And then you have Amazon too. So, it's not an easy market at all. And we've done every marketing thing that any e-commerce company has done, whether it's Facebook or Google or SEO and all the kind of stuff. And those things it's tough to compete in those markets now. It's tough to get a return on ad spend like anyone would want. So we've done it all. What we found to be most, our kind of our wheelhouse right now for us is email or SMS text marketing. Over the first decade and a half of our business, we were able to grow a substantial list that has been able to sustain us because we talk to those people, we listen to them, and we send them offers and things on things that they actually want. And that's been good for us. We still do dabble in all the other kind of paid stuff, but to a much lesser extent than we used to, just because the return on investment, certainly as of late hasn't been there. We also sell our own products on Amazon, um, because you have to, you got to meet customers where they shop, and that's obviously a place that a lot of them shop. So why not be there? We have to be there.
Do you get good response from Amazon? I mean, from what I hear, they take away a lot of your margins, right?
Yeah, you end up at the end of the month saying, "Dude, is this worth it? Should I do this? Am I making money?" But um, yeah, they take away a lot, but it's kind of one of those things like you got to be there. And if you're making your own product, if you're the manufacturer, hopefully your margins are large enough that you can still make a little money. In the first decade of our business, um, we were the Amazon arm for a lot of the third-party brands that we had, and you just can't make money doing it that way. There's just not enough margins when you take in all the fees and everything that comes out. You just can't. It's not a profitable business model.
So, I mean, I would consider you as I guess, the e-commerce veteran now. I mean, you've basically 25 years of e-commerce
Yeah.
experience under your
Yep.
belt.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about, with all this experience, of course, you have this one niche that you've kind
Yeah.
of mastered. Have you ever thought about like starting a different kind of a product category or something where you can take all your learnings and really have another go at it?
Yeah, we've thought about it, but I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, but this is like a business that we really know, and I really know, and that we're passionate about because we have our barber shops and the products that we make and stuff. And, I don't know that it's a great business strategy for huge growth, but, we like what we do. We're experts in our little corner of the internet, and we enjoy doing that. And I don't know that I would ever be fulfilled selling widgets just because I know how to sell them, because we kind of have the marketing background behind us. So and we've looked into it, and we thought about selling women's products, and we've even tried to expand out our site over the years. We've sold some clothing and some accessories and stuff like that, but it's always kind of just led us back to you know stick to your knitting type stuff, which is men's grooming.
What is your kind of how do you see your business evolving in the next, I would say, 5, 10 years? I mean, have you ever, I mean, you still call yourself small business, right? And
Yep.
do you ever think about mass distribution? And do you ever think about like becoming more of a uh, well-known brand available in
Yeah.
retail shops and so forth?
Yeah. And once again, if I'm being honest, it's not for a lack of trying. It's, we have our brand, we have a lot of experience, the products are great, and we'd love to get it out there to the masses. Absolutely. But, it's a grind to do it. And, we've seen a lot of companies that we work with that we respect that are small and emerging men's grooming companies who have gone into, whether it's a Target or a Walmart or, even, years ago, Bloomingdale's or Macy's or Nordstrom. And while you can get in there and it's great and it's nice to brag about to your friends or put on a presentation deck, when all is said and done, most of those people can't make any money between,
Mm.
fees that you have to pay to be slotted in those department stores, or having a person on site to sell the stuff that you are responsible for paying. Um, and just the margins that the manufacturer, I mean, that the bigger box retailers have. Um, the finances just haven't worked out for us. And so I'm not ruling it out as something we could do. We've done some work with some fragrance lines that we've come out with some mass retailers, and we've had some success for that. But I think with kind of the skincare and shaving products that we have, um, unless something changes, I don't see it something being on our radar in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, it's these products are so kind of fundamental and they're available, I guess, commodities. And so I guess
Yep, right.
it's difficult to kind of um, stand out. And unless I think it's more, I guess, more would be a branding play where you really
Yeah, you got it.
bring
Yeah,
celebrities or something and really try to stand apart. I guess.
Yeah, and it's hard to do that. And we've done crazy stuff in the past that has been good and helped build our business, and had partnerships and stuff like that has helped us get there, but it's just so noisy now, um, that I don't even know if doing stuff like that helps you break through. And so, we're kind of staying the course with our solid business fundamentals and what we do and providing good products and great service, and hoping that'll keep us moving forward and keep us growing, slow but steady.
In your role as the entrepreneur, as the CEO of the company, what kind of, I mean, what is your day-to-day look like? What kind of things you focus on, and what are the metrics that you are kind of optimizing? Are you, of course, you're adding new products to your line, but from an e-commerce perspective, is your focus on conversion? Is your focus on, return, your marketing spend? Um, what are you thinking about on a day-to-day basis?
I mean, I think as any entrepreneur who's running a small growing business, it's all of the above. You can't just do one. So, I do a lot of the creative, and then just keeping a really heavy focus on kind of user experience, offerings, what we offer our customers, and then, kind of always looking at new and cost-effective and return-effective ways to acquire new customers. But what we've learned, I think, over the years, even in our physical store in here, is kind of the best marketing is great service and great products, and the hope that if you treat the people who come in right and you send them a great products and you send it to them fast and they love it, that they'll tell a friend and they'll tell a friend, and on and on and on. And that's really the one kind of guaranteed marketing idea or philosophy that we rely on. All the other stuff goes up and down, but that's kind of the guaranteed way to do it, is by kind of running your business right and making people feel like they got a value even when they spent a good deal of money. So that's what we're kind of honed in on, because everything else is so noisy and there's so much money out there. It's just hard, it's hard to compete if with that. So kind of sticking to our knitting with doing things the right way is what we hope will kind of expand our business.
For sure. Can we talk a little bit about your fulfillment and shipping? A lot of
Sure.
your products are, of course, liquid items, and you said, of course,
Yep.
shipping speed is important. Are there any challenges in shipping these items? And what is kind of your shipping strategy? Do you give free shipping? I see on your website there's free shipping or 50. Um,
Yep.
can you talk a little bit about your fulfillment
Yeah.
shipping?
Yeah. So we have, for the last 15 years, we've had our own kind of uh, fulfillment center that's right outside Washington, D.C. And we've done it all ourselves. And it's been great. We've got a really good team doing that. We actually, starting next year, are going to be moving to a 3PL facility, um, a third-party logistics facility, just because the economics of it they're undeniable. You can't avoid it. You can have your own place where you have your own team. Um, and then you pay utilities and you pay for IT stuff there, and then all the kind of stuff, or you can go to a 3PL where they have 10 other brands, and they get all these economies of scale. And so that's fortunately, that's a no-brainer for us, something to do moving forward. Um, and in terms of challenges, we really haven't had a lot of challenges with our fulfillment. The only thing that we carry that we have issue with is sometimes when we do a lot of fragrance business, um, some of that stuff is flammable. So with international shipping, or even some of the stuff we've done with Amazon, that gets in a little murky waters and is difficult. But it's been pretty smooth, and we're on Shopify, um, and Shopify is great. It's even kind of enabled us to really streamline our international shipping as well. So not a lot of problems with that. And I think there's just so many apps and businesses and technology stacks now that uh, it's it's not that difficult anymore. Where there was a time where we would get all our orders faxed to us from, I don't know, I think we used to use Magento and Yahoo, and it wasn't a nightmare, but it wasn't streamlined like it is now with Shopify and some of the other plugins that they offer.
Thinking about switching to 3PL, is that something that you're going to do like all in one go, or are you going to shift that in phases? Because sometimes, I mean, 3PLs, I've heard some horror stories with 3PLs as
Oh
well.
yeah. Well, we're in the process of doing it now. So, between now and the end of the year, the hope is to get everything over there. And it's not an idea, the lease on our current distribution center is up, so it made it kind of a no-brainer for us that we have to do. And we're working with a company located on kind of the eastern shore of Maryland, so they're semi-local, that do a lot of businesses and e-com business on our side. So the hope and prayer is that it will be pretty seamless. I think it will be. Obviously, there'll be some hiccups, there always are, but I feel good about it.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about your team and who is responsible for what?
Yeah, so it's changed a lot since COVID, but we have a small marketing team, and they are responsible for design, UX, and they also do kind of outbound marketing. So kind of all of our emails and social media stuff and things of that nature. We have our distribution center team, which also includes customer service positions to respond and interact with customers. And individuals within there also are in charge of our inventory and product procurement. And I work with them together on our grooming lounge product procurement and working with the labs and things like that. And a lot of stuff now kind of accounting and other stuff like that are outsourced now. We used to have it pre-COVID. We used to do it all in-house, but with the ability to just work from home and work with firms that are based anywhere, you're able to kind of get great people at prices that are reasonable in different parts of the country and sometimes different parts of the world. So that's what we do for most of our other stuff.
Wow, that is so interesting. I mean, it seems like that's really changing the landscape of how people work now. Is most of your team working remote?
Everybody, we don't, I mean, we don't, not the store, obviously, but
Yeah.
everybody else is remote, a lot of Zoom, Teams calls, emails and stuff like that, but everybody else is remote, and you just check in. Obviously, our fulfillment center is not remote because they're all there, but everybody else is remote.
In every entrepreneur's journey, there's always mistakes made, lessons learned, failures. Of course, you've been doing it for a long time, but what has been like one or two things that come to your mind in terms of big mistakes that you may have made? What were the lessons that you learned? What are the lessons other entrepreneurs could learn from your mistakes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think any entrepreneur who's been doing it this long has made a ton, and I certainly have made a ton. I mean, I think a lot of it is, some of I wouldn't call them get rich quick schemes, but as of recently, a lot of the stuff surrounding kind of influencers or influencers and things like that, that we've done for years, but we've invested a significant amount of money over the last 5 or 6 years in influencers and things of that nature. And at least for us, I'm not saying it doesn't work for anyone else, but the long-term ROI for us has not been great. We've noticed with a lot of the influencers, in order to try to sell your product, the best way that works is to have some kind of amazing offer. And when you have an amazing offer, people jump, but they're not your customer. They're not coming back once they get past the offer, because they're always looking for another offer, and that's not sustainable for us. And so I think, it took, it only took me 20 tries to realize, like, while that might work for some people, that's not our business. And that is not a silver bullet that works for a business of our size, or at least in our segment.
I hear that message. um, I think influencers are becoming dime a dozen now, and
I mean,
yeah, I think it's
I feel like it obviously works for some people, or people wouldn't do it, but it's kind of nonsense. Like, it just doesn't, you just don't see the return.
yeah,
We
for
don't.
sure.
I'm sure other people have great results, but for us, it is you know, I have a note on my thing that in my office, like, saying, do not do it. Any kind of influencer or partnership marketing like that, because it's not for us.
Yeah, that's definitely challenging. I'm going to move on to our rapid fire segment. In this segment, I'm
Sure.
going to ask you a few quick questions, and you have to answer them maybe in a word or a sentence or so. So
Yep.
the first one is one book recommendation for entrepreneurs and why?
It's not a specific book, but an author, and I haven't read one of his things for a couple of years, but there's an author named Seth Godin who is
Yeah.
a marketing guru, and his stuff is just so spot on for any type of marketing, no matter what the business, that he's kind of my go-to for any kind of books or books on tape.
Yeah, definitely a very smart guy. An innovative product or idea in the current e-commerce, retail, or tech landscape that you feel excited about?
You know what we've had a lot of success with recently, and this isn't like a brand new technology, but doing SMS or text messaging, to people who opt in, we've seen a great kind of open rate and click-through rate and response from doing that. As long as you don't kind of overuse it, but that's been a real boon to our business as of late. So I really like that SMS, those SMS emails or offers.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I mean, I see SMS is becoming kind of the new email channel, but I
Yeah.
also see a lot of spammers just reaching
Well,
out
yeah, I
for
mean,
your
especially during election season. I mean, that's all I get is donating money to whoever wants some money for their campaign. So it's hard to break through it. But
yeah.
yeah,
A business or productivity tool or software that you would recommend or a productivity tip? I know you mentioned Shopify, but anything else?
Shopify is great, and I don't get any money from these guys, but this is the best app slash technology that we've realized lately. Is there is a payroll company called Gusto, and we use it in our shop and online. But we used to use some of these big payroll companies, and it was super expensive and it was complicated. And this is just uh, an online platform. It makes it so easy in terms of dealing with payroll and taxes and everything. I think it's great.
Awesome. Um, Another startup or business in e-commerce, retail, or tech that you think is currently doing great things?
Um, I don't know about a startup, but I mean, one of the retailers that I always go in, and I know that this is anything but a startup, but I was just in an Under Armour store the other day,
Mhm,
and they don't need my help certainly,
mhm.
but their merchandising, and the way they design their store and the flow is just it's so impressive. I think it's great.
Awesome. A peer entrepreneur or business person whom you look up to or someone who inspires you?
I think it's probably corny to say, but my dad was an entrepreneur
Mhm.
and still is an entrepreneur, even though he's retired. And when I need advice or kind of some grounding, he was never in the e-com space, but he understands business and selling. And so he's kind of my go-to.
Yeah, at the end of the day, e-commerce is still business. You're just using technology,
Right.
right? So it's the
Yep.
fundamentals are the
Yep.
same. Final
Yep.
question. What is the best business advice that you have ever received or you would give to other entrepreneurs?
Um, this isn't mine, but there's a quote talking about success being in the agency of others that I just think is so dead on. And I think it's just basically hire good people and then let them do their thing, lay out expectations and let them do their thing, because I'm not the smartest. So I got to hire people who are really smart and know what they're doing and just let them have at it. I can't do it by myself. And so, success is definitely all about having great people surrounding and supporting you.
That is a great lesson for sure. And, any entrepreneur who wants to scale can do it on your
Yep.
own. You definitely need help from other people. Well, Mike,
Yep.
those were all the questions that I had. Thank you so much again for sharing your story, for sharing your business lessons, successes, and some failures. If anybody wants to try out your products, buy your products, what is the best way they can do that?
Just go to groominglounge.com. Or if you live in Maryland, Virginia, or DC, you can come to our shop in Northern Virginia. But either way, we'd love to help make you more handsome.
Awesome. Well, Mike, thank you so much again for sharing your story and for joining me today at Trep Talks. Really, really appreciate your time and wish you all the very best in your business.
Thanks, Ishan. Appreciate it.